going on in our world right now. Does that make sense? Okay, so should we then, because the true reflection of the growth that's happening today in our agency is our submits, is our P1Fs, is our PIFs. All right. So if you want to know what's going on in your agency right now, you pay attention to the submits. So as the premium shows us our history, the PIFs show us our health. Right? When you walk into the doctor, what's the first thing they do? They run you through a battery of tests, right? And they take your heart rate and they do your blood pressure and they do all these fundamental things that give them a baseline of where you're at today, right? They look at your history, but they give you a baseline of what you're dealing with right now. So last week was a train more, right? So I don't care if you have a team of 94 people like Justin Ellingson had last week, or if you have a team of 1. Go back and just look at what were the available number of submits. And so let me give you guys I'm going to give you a name for that. It's called agent count. Let me teach you a new concept at Family Heritage. Agent count is anyone in your group who has written business in the last 9 weeks, who is trained, appointed, and capable of producing business right now. That's agent count. Oh, and by the way, for those of you that invest in the company through the Globe Life stock, that is the number one critical metric that the investors want to see, and they want to see it growing. So if you want to start tracking something that really matters, start tracking your agent count. It's literally just anyone who's produced in the last 9 weeks. If you ask really nicely, Van might create a tracker or have somebody else create a tracker that you can then plug in the numbers. Because I'm sure Van's got trackers. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So agent count. I love it. Josiah's like, he sure does. Okay. So agent count, right? So agent count is your available roster. So go back to your train more. Casey's just laughing hysterically there. All right. Go back to your roster. And how many of your possible agent count produced business last week? All right. Now I'm gonna let you in on a dirty little secret. The company average is less than 50%. It's not awesome. And this is a number that we try and work at, from growth council conversations to agency owner meetings to 101 to 201. We're trying to tweak this number, trying to improve this. But for whatever reason, working with independent contractors that, decide to only wear t-shirts on a Friday morning, sometimes they just don't get it done in a week, and that's okay, right? That's just the deal. But what about your agency? What was available and what happened last week? And let me just say to you, if you hit 100% last week, no matter what the premium was, you need to pat yourself on the back, because the health of your current team, the health of your agency is awesome. Okay. If you only had 85 or 80%, great. You're living into the Pareto principle. You're not going to beat that principle down. You need to pat yourself on the back. Okay. It doesn't mean that you don't have room for improvement. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't show up to the leadership call and receive some sort of education, rebuke, how to improve it, right? But if you had 80% of your available agent count produce business last week, you need to celebrate that big time. Okay. If you had 60%, you can be thankful that you're running about 50% higher than the company average. Heck, if you had 50%, you improved the company's numbers. So congratulations. It's probably not worth a party, but it's worth a pat on the back. But let me just say this: if you're less than 50%, then your blood pressure's off and your heartbeat is racing. And your current situation, the health of your group, needs attention. And that's where it needs to be put on, right? Because here's the beauty of our business. We have a business that can go from Maine to Mississippi because we want it to. And we also have a business that if we want to, we can go and get results today. Right? We can do that. You guys are all capable of getting results today. Now, it might be a long ass day for you. You might have to go and call on a whole bunch of people. But if your life depended on it, if you were only guaranteed oxygen for the next 24 hours, if you wrote business, you would go write business today because you're capable of doing that. And I know that's true because I was in Utah last week, having not personally been in the field and done a demo for hell, who knows how long. And guess what happened on Tuesday when I started doing demos? Guess what happened on Wednesday when I walked into a salon and there were two girls sitting there and one of them was cutting hair and the other one wasn't. And I looked at the one that wasn't, was like, well, looks like you got a spare time. Anyone coming into sit in your chair? No? Well, cool. You should come talk to me then. And 25 minutes later, we had someone protected, right? So you can, if as rusty old, creepy old Travis can write business out of thin air, so can you. Okay. So that's the health. That's what's going on in your organization today. So if you want to know where you're at momentum right now, look at your submits and really look at the growth of your submits and look at that percentage of agent count to submits. Okay. That makes sense? All right. So we don't need to be Uncle Rico and live in the past. Our history is important. We need to recognize that. That helps us tell the story, right? What helps us put emphasis on the story, because some of you are better storytellers than others, is how healthy you are right now. What is your submit situation looking like, right? So social media is only interested in your current health status. Every once in a while, you can throw a little history in there, but they need to know what's happening right now. Our bodies are constantly being attacked by all the elements, by the sun, by the wind, by the pollen, by the coronavirus, whatever. There's always something attacking our bodies, and so our bodies are always on point, fighting right now to keep us healthy. Okay. So same situation as you run your business, as you're recruiting and as you're telling the story, give them a little history, but more importantly, tell them the momentum that's happening right freaking now, because that's the good stuff. All right. Amanda Arndt has a history of 100% of their recruits have been trained to standard, and 85% of them have hit quick start. And last week, they had their third best week of their agency's career in all measurable statistics. Now, let me just ask you guys, is it hard for her to tell her story with enthusiasm and passion and vigor and zeal? No, it's not. And so then when you do that, as you're telling your story, that then leads into the final thing that we do. And that then leads into where we get the glimpse of the future of our business. Okay. The future of our business. How many of you guys have ever heard Elon Musk do any type of, podcast or whatever? Okay. Now, every time I hear this guy, I think, okay, first off, he's hard to listen to. But second off, rarely does he talk about where they've been or even really where they're at. Almost every time he talks about where they're going. He talks about their future. Okay. And the future momentum that you have in your business is simply based upon recruiting. Recruiting is where you get your hope. So it's good to know our history. We have to know our health. But gang, can any of us live a day without hope? No, we cannot live without hope. If we lose hope, we begin the dying process. That is the beginning of the end for all of us. And it doesn't matter what that's in. If you lose hope in your marriage, it's soon over. If you lose hope in your battle with cancer, right? How many of these people have you met where you talk to them and they're in the midst of their battle and they're just a fighter and they're telling you that they still have hope. And then you talk to them 6 months later and they whip the shit out of it. Or you met them and they're like down, that they're just done. They've given up hope. Right. And you check in 6 months later and they're no longer with us. So if you want to have hope in your future, which by the way, hope in the future does give you power in the present, right? Then it's all about recruiting. It's all about recruiting. Now, I'm not saying it's all about Indeed. I'm not saying it's all about RMS. I'm not saying it's all about professional recruiting, right? The best recruiting are those people that are closest to you, wherever you are. Okay? Wherever you are. There are great people that you run into, that you develop a relationship with, that you do life with, that you bump into. I mean, crap, last week I was getting lunch with JJ Salway, standing in line to whatever, I forgot what we were ordering. And this guy standing next to me is like, "So what do you do?" And I was like, "Damn, you beat me to the punch. You're pretty good. Sharp dude," right? So we're in the process of trying to field recruit this guy. Just doing life, right? Telling him our history, talking to him about how healthy we are right now. It's pretty easy to have that conversation. So recruiting then, and the growth of recruiting, again, this is a growth-based business. The growth of recruiting is your hope. That is the future. So I asked you early, is it smart to run a business based out of your past successes? No. However, isn't it really wise to run a business based upon the future of where that business can be? Isn't that really what we're all working for? We're all working for the future to some degree, right? Yes, sure, we have to take care of some things right now. But wasn't it true that one of the most attractive things about our business was the idea of vested renewal commissions for the rest of your life? Yeah. And even if you've only received the very first month of renewals, which last 2 days ago, I got a chance to talk to Whitney Gall. Some of you guys met Whitney in a variety of situations, I might add, while in Dallas. But nonetheless, you met Whitney and she just completed her first year, made the list of top whatever 150. And she got her first renewal. Now, you guys remember that? Those of you that have been around a while, she saw that statement of account that showed her first renewal. And I opened it up to her and I showed her and I was like, "Whit, check it out. You get one free coffee every month for the rest of your life." She had at $2.49 of renewals last month. Now that's not going to take care of much, right? But that's something that did not exist in her world 15 months ago. And so again, it's worth celebrating because we looked ahead at what could possibly happen next month and it doubles. Now, you guys haven't doubled your income in a month in a really long time, but she's doubling her renewal income in 1 month. And that's pretty cool. Now I know it's only $5, but still that's 2 coffees. And before long, she's at a coffee a day for the rest of her life, right? And before long, she's got her car payment paid for. And before long, she's got her mortgage paid for. And, it's not long. And then she's like, "Well, I guess my grandkids get coffee every day for the rest of their life. And I guess my grandkids get their mortgage paid for," right? And so on and so forth. And that's the hope that we're working with. That's the future that we're all excited about. Does that make sense? Isn't the career track designed to draw you towards the future? 100% of it is. It's what's the next step forward. Okay. So that's momentum. You can put your focus on wherever you want to with momentum. You can put it on your past and celebrate those former victories. And you can celebrate that premium. And again, don't hear me the wrong way. We need premium because without it, this isn't even a business, right? We got to have premium. But if you put too much emphasis on that, you're just focusing on your history. You're being the worst version of Uncle Rico running a business. And that's just not the right way to do it. We got to know our history. We got to know our health, but more importantly, we got to live with hope. And hope is all about recruiting and all about new blood and all about new people coming in and the new enthusiasm that they bring and the new excitement. Now, Howard taught us 34 years ago, when we gather together, it's always the greatest meeting ever. Is that right? Every single time. It's always the greatest meeting ever. And forever, I questioned, like, why is he freaking saying that? That meeting we had in Memphis was pretty kick-ass. Well, at least the softball tournament was, because we beat everybody's butt. But that meeting we had in Boston was really cool, because that was like one of the coolest locations. Or that meeting we had in Tucson, that resort we stayed at, was far and away better than this place we're at. And then it dawned on me, the reason that he calls it the best meeting we've ever had. Anyone want to take a guess?
Because there's new people that have never been there.
Because there's new people, and there's more new people there than there is veterans. And new people bring new life, new energy, new blood, and hope, because it's the best meeting ever for our future. Right? So those of you guys that were in Dallas, when they said, hey, stand up as this is your first meeting, and 85% of the room stood up, I was like I lost my breath. I was like, what? Holy cow. I know we haven't gotten together for 18 months, but man, oh man, that's a lot of new life. And let me just finish with this. When you have that much new blood and new life and new goodness coming into your world, you can take on all kinds of existential threats. Your body, you can fight off all kinds of garbage that's happening in the world around you. If you're absolutely full of hope, you have uncontrollable power today to just go make it happen. Right? So I was a little concerned about kind of the health of family heritage, to be really frank with you, coming into that meeting. And I saw those new people and all the enthusiasm, and just fired up about where this is going. Oh, and by the way, it's good to have a head start, right? There is benefit in being first in line. I don't care what anyone tells you. So it's good to have a head start. And you guys are right in line with me. There is for sure going to be an overhead compartment that you can put your luggage in, because you're getting on the plane first as well. That is really cool that we have that many new people, and they are just going to just keep it coming. Right? So with that, I hope you understand momentum a little bit more. And I want you to just think about you, and I want you to think about your group and your group's history, your group's health, and your group's hope. And where are you putting your emphasis, right? It's a Friday. So as you go into next week, what are you going to focus on? Are you going to focus on hope for the future? Are you going to focus on the health right now, because that's where it needs to be? Or are you going to focus back on your group's history? I would encourage you to find your emphasis on recruiting and submits, and the premium will always follow. All right. I think we got a few more minutes before I know I have to be on another call. So I'll stop with that. Appreciate you guys letting me be on. And if there's any other questions, thoughts, comments, I'll field a couple and go from there. Or Van, if you want to close this out, I'll happily.
I'd love to give these leaders some chance to chat.
Yes, Todd.
Trav, two things. Number one, I've seen you sell policies from the brochure in your second favorite town in America.
Yeah,
and it was it was great to see. But I always remember one of the things you said to me was focus on 15 submits a week. If I focus on getting 15 submits a week, that's going to help me get to AS status. So
yes, 50 submits a week is 600 a year, or really darn close, which is there's no different way you can skin it. It's 1.5 to 1.8 million dollars in business, and that's the launch pad of an agency. So thanks, Todd. Good to see you. Good to hear you.
Guys, anybody on here have any questions? We got about 6 minutes before we wrap things up. It's a hard stop today with Travis on. But anybody have any questions for a guy that's literally in 27 years in direct sales? I believe he's grown 26. of those 27. I'm ballparking it right there, Travis, but I'm going back to Southwestern and 17 years here. I believe you've grown about every year except maybe one.
Two.
Sorry.
2001 was a decrease, and then last year we were basically down 1%. So, but I'll take it. I'll blame the pandemic last year.
Me too.
All right.
Travis, quick question. You know, you talk about hope for the future and kind of staying locked into things to look forward to. What are some of your techniques or recommendations on how to insulate yourself with that? I mean, obviously you stare at the numbers when they come out, but what are some things maybe at home or in your office that you look at often that kind of help visualize the future, if that makes sense?
So I've done a lot of things over the year. Good question, Zach. Done a lot of things over the year, from a dream board to reviewing my goals. I have a conversation I've had with probably a few of you guys on, you get to, you as a living, breathing human being get to tell your business, which according to the IRS is also a living, breathing entity, 4 times a year, what it is that's important to it. And then the other 361 times of the year, your business tells you what's important. And just, hey, this is what you got to do for me today. There's a lot of those things, but ultimately it boils down to, if you're grounded in your purpose, if you know why you're doing this, then that is the stronghold. That's the magnetic attraction that's constantly pulling you into the future and into that hope. And so then you don't need all those anchor points along the way, because you just have, this super electron that's pulling you towards it every single time. So I would encourage you to just continue to refine why you're doing this, what's important to you, to your family. Where are you going to get real significance out of this opportunity, right? And how is that going to make an impact for your family? And it may start with a dream board and some materialistic things right now. And again, those will fire you up. But as soon as those materialistic things begin to come true, then you're like, well, all right, that's cool, but gosh, that's a lot of work. I either got to mow that or I got to have a bunch of cows to eat it. So then you got to go on, right? So it ultimately boils back down to, what did the Lord put me on this earth to do? And where's my significance come from? Right. And that's kind of that hope in the future. And then when you get a hold of that, the story is even easier to tell, because you're like, dang, I want to bring everybody with me on this ride. So good question.
Right on. Got time for one more, guys, and then we're going to put a cap on it. Anybody got just one thing you want to ask one of the best leaders that ever grace Family Heritage? Is don't shake your head.
Stop with the flattery.
It's true, man. It's true. You're pretty awesome. Well, Trav, I think you must have said it all, man. So
sweet.
Thank you for being on, brother. I really, truly appreciate you guys. I want to challenge you and encourage you to take a look at, when you hang up here, take a look at those notes that you put down, highlight a couple things, just put a couple things in front of you that help make what you do, but most importantly, how you think about and look at your business, to help you push not only through the quarter, but maybe be a game changer for the rest of your career. So today was one of those moments for sure. So Trav,
I got one last question too.
Yeah.
Looks like Zach's got one. Hit me first. You're up.
Real quick, I talked to JJ Jordan in Texas about probably one of the more important things to do this year is to get outside your organization and follow. Is that concept pretty prevalent in your organization? Do they get outside of your organization and travel and mentor, each other, or are they kind of locked into each other? Like, just curious, is that a tradition with you guys?
We do have some cross-pollination for sure happening. Fortunately, we're already pretty cross-pollinated with the Transparent crew and the Tuma agencies. And so we get to sort of, catch their wind and catch their vibe, and they get to do the same with us. But yeah, that for sure happens. Probably not as much as or as convenient as I would want it, but nonetheless, that's for sure part of it. Now that doesn't, so So let me just say this. If there's someone within IBG that you guys want to come and spend time with, then by all means, I will begin the process of asking that. However, I can't have all of you go and follow Amanda Arndt each of the next weeks for the next 8 weeks. That just won't happen. Right.
Yeah.
But I know that's part of it for sure.
Right.
All right. One last question. Hey, am I gonna see every single one of you in Mexico in October? Can I just get a commitment? Van, I know I'm gonna see you. You
Yes,
have
sir.
to show up for some reason. Is that a thumbs up from everyone? Just go ahead and let me just see it. All right. And if it doesn't happen, do I have permission to call you and make you feel littler than I am?
Yes, sir.
Is that a confirmation?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So just go do it, right? Just go do it. Lead by example, get results today. All right, I'm out.
Thanks, Travis. Guys, one thing is Travis is logging off here. I will share. I think it's about almost 4 years ago right now. I probably 4 years and 2 months ago, my business was at a spot where I just wasn't happy about it. I was sitting around. It was me, Kyle, and gosh, it's probably been 5 years ago now. We were sitting around and just there wasn't anybody there. We had 2 people at the meeting. There wasn't much growth going on. Just kind of stagnant, and realized I needed to pull myself out of a rut and pull my head out of my what. And I called up Travis and said, hey man, we've been talking for months and months and probably even multiple years on our agency owner calls about getting together and iron sharpens iron and going and following. I'd like to come out in August and come work with you. Anyway, we figured out a time, and guys, I hopped on an airplane on a Sunday, flew out, spent 2 days in their office, seeing the operations in there. Matter of fact, at the time, flew out my recruiting assistant with us and had her in the office for 3 days to follow their recruiter in the office. And then I just hit the road with Travis for 3 days, and we drove all over Minnesota and Iowa. And I got my saw sharpened a little bit. I got out of my rut. I realized I do some things pretty well, and I realized there's some things I don't do really well, and I learned and got better at those things. And so that was the catalyst that got us out of our little 100 square foot office I was in, playing it small, into a bigger office that we were in there for 4 years. I guess it has been 5, almost 6 years since that happened. Got us into a new office, and then that's catapulted us into a nicer space that we're busting at the seams at now. But just guys, just the whole idea of getting outside your comfort zone, and that $1,000 or whatever it costs in airfare and some hotel expenses and some meals out to go do that, guys, that paid itself back in 2 weeks. And I can guarantee you that travel trip has probably been worth, over the last 5 years, I don't know, probably close to $1 million. Okay. So I just encourage us, take that to heart, and, don't make $1 million decisions based on $500 or a week, a few days off the field. I mean, we can all take the time to sharpen our saw. And when we do, guys, we're better, and we're going to help our folks that we're responsible for and we're charged with growing be that much better too. So just wanted to share that with you guys, and just encourage us all to take a look at where we're at and see if we're where we want to be, and see if we need to identify somebody that we met when we were in Texas a couple weeks ago, that we struck up a relationship with, that we might want to hop on an airplane and go out and go follow them for 3 or 4 days and go see what's going on, and bring that wood to the fire, and get our business on the way that we want it to be. So that's it, guys. Thanks for being on. Appreciate you. Hopefully you got some good stuff. I would challenge you to review your notes and just do something different from what you learned today than you would have otherwise. And appreciate you guys for all you do. And let's have a good, strong finish to the week.
Thanks for getting Travis on, Van. That was super awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. That won't be the last time we have guest speakers. That's something I'm going to try to weave into our calls a little bit more often moving forward. So thanks for saying that, Josiah. Have a great day, guys.
Yes, sir.
Great finish.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys. Bye.